Julian Assange Fast Facts. Here's a look at the life of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. Personal birth date: July 3, 1971. Birthplace: Townsville, Queensland, Australia. Father: John Shipton. Mother: Christine Hawkins. Assange children: with Stella, Moris, Max and Gabriel. Other facts: when he was a year old, his mother married Brett Assange, who adopted him. Guest starred as himself on the 500th episode of The Simpsons in 2012. He recorded his lines over the phone from the Ecuadorian Embassy in London, where he was granted asylum for nearly 7 years. Timeline: 2006 WikiLeaks is founded by Assange. 2007 WikiLeaks posts the procedures manual for Camp Delta, the U.S. detention center in Guantánamo Bay. April 5, 2010 WikiLeaks posts a video showing a U.S. military helicopter firing on and killing 2 journalists and several Iraqi civilians in 2007. The military claims that the helicopter crew believed the targets were armed insurgents, not civilians. July 25, 2010 WikiLeaks posts more than 90,000 classified documents related to the Afghanistan war. August 20, 2010 Swedish prosecutors issue an arrest warrant for Assange based on allegations of sexual assault. August 21, 2010, the Swedish prosecutor's office announces it is rescinding the arrest warrant. August 31, 2010 Assange is questioned by Stockholm police and told of the charges against him. October 22, 2010 WikiLeaks publishes classified military documents from the Iraq War. November 20, 2010, the Stockholm Criminal Court issues an international arrest warrant for Assange. November 28, 2010 WikiLeaks begins publishing diplomatic cables from U.S. embassies. December 7, 2010 turns himself into London authorities. Assange is remanded in custody. December 16, 2010 is released on bail and put on house arrest. February 24, 2011, a judge rules in support of Assange's extradition to Sweden. Assange's lawyers file an appeal. April 24, 2011 WikiLeaks begins releasing classified military documents providing details on the behavior and treatment of detainees being held at the U.S. Navy's detention facility at Guantánamo Bay. September 2, 2011 WikiLeaks releases its archive of more than 250,000 U.S. diplomatic cables. November 2, 2011 appeals court judges in London rule in favor of Assange being extradited to Sweden. November 15, 2011, the UK Judicial Office announces Assange has applied to take his appeal against extradition to Sweden to the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom. May 30, 2012, the British Supreme Court denies Assange's appeal against extradition to Sweden, but grants him 2 weeks to file an appeal. This is unusual, because rulings are supposed to be final. June 19, 2012 Assange enters the Ecuadorian Embassy in London, requesting political asylum. August 16, 2012 Ecuador announces it has granted asylum to Assange. August 19, 2012 makes a public address from the balcony of the Ecuadorian Embassy in London, demanding that the United States drop its witch hunt against WikiLeaks. September 26, 2012 delivers a speech via satellite to a full conference room at the United Nations, asking the U.S. government to end its actions against him and his website. The event is held by the Mission of Ecuador on UN grounds, but is not officially sponsored by the world body. November 2012 Assange's book, Cypherpunks: Freedom and the Future of the Internet, is published. February 10, 2015, Metropolitan Police Commissioner Bernard Hogan Howe tells LBC Radio the operation guarding Assange at the Ecuadorian Embassy in London is sucking our resources in, as costs spiral to more than £10 million, $15.3 million. May 11, 2015, the Swedish Supreme Court denies Assange's appeal to dismiss an arrest warrant for allegations of sexual assault. July 3, 2015 France rejects Assange's request for protection after he publishes an open letter in national newspaper Le Monde. August 13, 2015 Swedish prosecutors announced they are dropping allegations involving sexual molestation and coercion, as statutes of limitations in the investigation run out this month. However, the allegation of suspicion of rape still stands, and he may be investigated until 2020, Swedish prosecutors have said. February 5, 2016, a UN rights working group says its investigation found that Assange is being arbitrarily detained by the governments of Sweden and the United Kingdom. May 25, 2016, a Swedish court upholds the arrest warrant for Assange, with a Swedish prosecutor saying there's still probable cause to prosecute him on a rape allegation, and that the risk of him evading justice is still large. July 22, 2016, WikiLeaks publishes nearly 20,000 emails from Democratic National Committee staffers. The hacked emails appear to show the committee favoring presumptive Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders during the U.S. presidential primary. On July 29, Assange tells CNN's Anderson Cooper that the email release was timed to coincide with the start of the Democratic National Convention. September 15, 2016, WikiLeaks announces via Twitter that if Obama grants Manning clemency, Assange will agree to U.S. prison in exchange, despite its clear unlawfulness, referring to Chelsea Manning, the imprisoned former Army intelligence analyst convicted of violating the Espionage Act. September 16, 2016, a Swedish appeals court states again that the arrest warrant for Assange on allegations of rape still stands. This is the 8th time the European arrest warrant has been tested in a Swedish court. All 8 judgments have gone against Assange. October 7, 2016, WikiLeaks begins publishing hacked emails from Clinton's campaign chairman, John Podesta. November 14, 2016, WikiLeaks tweets that Assange is giving a statement in the presence of a Swedish prosecutor regarding allegations he sexually assaulted 2 women in the country 6 years ago. January 3, 2017, during an interview with Sean Hannity of Fox News, Assange says that the Russian government was not the source of the hacked DNC emails. He also denies talking to Russian President Vladimir Putin and says he did not have contact with the campaign for U.S. President-elect Donald Trump. April 20, 2017, U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions announces that the Department of Justice is preparing charges for Assange and that his arrest is a priority. May 19, 2017, Swedish prosecutors dropped their investigation of rape allegations against Assange, ending a nearly 7-year legal impasse. December 12, 2017, becomes a naturalized citizen of Ecuador. March 27, 2018, Assange's internet communications outside of the Ecuadorian Embassy in London are suspended for at least the 2nd time since October 2016. The government accuses him of failing to commit to an agreement not to release messages interfering with other nations' affairs. October 19, 2018, Assange directs his legal team to launch proceedings against the government of Ecuador for violating his fundamental rights. October 29, 2018, Assange's lawsuit against Ecuador is rejected by an Ecuadorian court. During a video-linked hearing, Judge Carla Martinez alerts Assange he will have to abide by the new rules imposed by Ecuador's embassy in London. November 2018, an inadvertent court filing in a case unrelated to Assange reveals that the WikiLeaks founder has been charged under seal in a U.S. federal court. Another procedure short of sealing will not adequately protect the needs of law enforcement at this time because, due to the sophistication of the defendant and the publicity surrounding the case, no other procedure is likely to keep confidential the fact that Assange has been charged, prosecutors wrote in the August 22 filing that was unsealed on November 8. The U.S. Justice Department investigation of Assange and WikiLeaks dates to at least 2010. November 27, 2018, The Guardian reports that former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort secretly met with Assange several times inside the Ecuadorian Embassy in London, including around the time Manafort was made a top figure in the Trump campaign. The Guardian, citing sources, reports Manafort met with Assange in 2013, 2015 and in the spring of 2016. Manafort denies ever meeting Assange. April 11, 2019, Assange is arrested by the Metropolitan Police in London on an extradition warrant from the U.S. Justice Department. He is charged with conspiracy to attempt to hack a computer in connection with the 2010 release of classified military info obtained via Manning. Assange's attorney says the indictment is troubling because of its implications for freedom of the press. On May 23, it is announced that Assange has been charged with 17 additional counts under the Espionage Act. May 1, 2019 is sentenced to 50 weeks in a UK prison after he is found guilty of violating his bail conditions when he entered Ecuador's London embassy to avoid extradition to Sweden in 2012. Judge Deborah Taylor said Assange will be eligible for release after serving half the sentence, but that any parole would be subject to conditions and outcome of any other proceedings against him. July 15, 2019, CNN reports on newly obtained documents that describe how Assange transformed the Ecuadorian embassy into a command center and orchestrated a series of damaging disclosures that rocked the 2016 presidential campaign in the United States. A day later, former Ecuadorian President Rafael Correa says his country was aware that Assange was interfering in the 2016 U.S. presidential election while staying at the embassy. November 19, 2019, Sweden's deputy chief prosecutor announces that authorities are ending their investigation into an allegation of rape against Assange. The investigation into Assange was reopened in May following his removal from Ecuador's embassy in central London the previous month. April 11, 2020, in a video posted online and shared by WikiLeaks, Stella Moris reveals that she and Assange had 2 sons while he was living in the Ecuadorian Embassy in London. Moris is part of the international legal team working for Assange, but she is not involved in the current extradition case. Click subscribe to receive the latest news.